What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Halo Ranch YouTube channel, where today we're coming at you with a slightly different video than what we usually do. We're going to be talking about Halo Infinite and why we think it's destined to fail. Now, we're not trying to be all negative and think, oh, it's going to be absolutely bollocks and all this, but we're just going to throw a few reasons out there as to why the odds are it might be shit, even though we really don't want that to be the case. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into it.
So, off the bat, we've got to say this 343 does not have a good track record at all.
Nope.
They done an awful job with Halo 4. MCC was a train wreck, and Halo 5 was a joke. Now, granted, yes, Halo Wars 2 was redeemable, but first off, that wasn't an FPS title, and that was done in conjunction with Creative Assembly. I don't know the full inner workings of how that was developed and who made what decisions here and there, but that could also just be, a one-off fluke. They somehow managed to nail it with Halo Wars 2, and they don't even know how they did it.
Yeah, it seems like an example of fourth time's the charm with that, doesn't it? Because as you've said, the first one they brought out, Halo 4, you can understand it wasn't going to be perfect. There was their first game. There was going to be a little bit of a teething process, shall we say. But it just didn't get any better, did it? MCC was an absolute train wreck, didn't even work when it launched, and Halo 5 was just, as you said, it is a fucking joke. It's awful. So you can understand why you'd get the impression that Infinite itself isn't going to be that good, purely based off of the facts that you've seen before you.
As well, we've yet to see any sort of even closed beta with the game. And with how it was handled, the game was originally slated to release at the end of 2020, and we hadn't received it by E3 or Microsoft's equivalent of E3 that year. So clearly they're leaving the beta till last minute. And the longer they leave it, the closer to release they leave the beta, the less that can be changed between the release, between the release date and the beta. There's only so much they can do in a couple of months.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely spot on. I think another thing to point out there is that when they have released, obviously this isn't a beta, but when they've shown pieces of gameplay, it hasn't always been the best quality. Now, I know that they've obviously been improving on this. That's sort of the main reason that the game got delayed was the feedback from that E3 gameplay trailer. But that doesn't put you in a good stead, really, does it? It doesn't give the impression that the game itself is polished and going to be 100% ready and raring to go come the end of the year, just based on the fact that it seems as if there was so much work to do on it in such a short frame of time, which is another thing to point out, really. They've been working on this since, what, 2015? 2016? Something like that?
So, yeah, around then, yeah.
They've had a lot of time to be working on this and developing that new engine and so on and so on. You would think that with all of the backlash that the previous games have got, their sole objective would be to give fans a decent looking gameplay trailer, just to reassure them a little bit, if nothing else.
What worries me with that gameplay trailer is the fact that they shoot that to us, and then they seem to be perfectly willing and happy to show us that gameplay. They thought it was fine, and they didn't delay the game until after the backlash they got with Craig and all that. Yeah. And it does just worry me. Is there things under the hood that we're not going to see until day one? That they're sat there thinking, yeah, that's fine. Then no one's going to have a problem with that. But everyone's going to have a problem with it. It's going to be a fundamental flaw with the game that 343 just thought, that's fine. We'll just slip that under the rug.
I think leading on from that, and another thing to point out is that people's expectations of this game are absolutely massive. There's been such a large window of time since the last... I mean, realistically, it's been about a decade since the last good one. Last good FPS, anyway, in Halo Reach. That people's expectations, and more importantly, their demands for this game to be good, are at such a high level that should 343 not deliver on this, it's going to be catastrophic for them, and they're really going to lose any sort of what would you call it, consumer business sort of relationship that they have earned through improving in MCC and in Halo Wars 2.
Yeah, consumer confidence with 343 right now has been mended a bit since 5 with the bringing of MCC to PC and them trying to fix it.
Yeah.
But it's still very badly damaged, and if this game, quite frankly, if this game is only good, I don't think that'll be enough. I think this game, it needs to be great, because
yeah,
we've had nearly 6 years since a Halo game, and the one that this is following up was an awful one. And if this one isn't good, Halo's going to be dead for the next 10 years, because they're planning for it to last a decade. And I really, it does concern me that if this game ends up being hot trash, Halo's going to be dead for 10 years. And it's already been dead for the last 5. I don't want to go through what we've gone through now again.
Well, this is the thing. By saying that they want this game to be 10 years, they've really sort of made it a rod for their own back in a way. Like, they have to stick the landing on the initial game. Because realistically, if they don't do that, and then they release all these brilliant DLCs and like try and save it, they're not going to. The initial player base is going to have fucked off by then and be on something else. So they've really got to sort of stick the landing with this game and like deliver upfront immediately.
In one of our last videos, we had a comment of someone mentioning that they might use, like, say, a Halo 3 anniversary as a sort of, like, you know, we're sorry.
Like
we're sorry for fucking this up. Here, have this as a apology. That's not good enough. That's not. No. We cannot have that, because this game. We love Halo 3. We want to see Halo 3 remaster, but Halo 3 remaster doesn't equate to a completely butchered game. And as well, with this game, as they're saying, it's going to last 10 years. They can't monetize that on just game sales. There is no way they're monetizing that on game sales. This game is going to have some microtransactions.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be in a similar vein to the likes of Halo 5. Hopefully nowhere near as bad, with like 16 different fucking helmet variants and stuff like that. But you're going to see microtransactions. I think they've already said that there's for things like shaders. So just purely changing the color of your armor is going to cost you money, which is a little bit shit. But another thing to point out is that this game is obviously going to be on Game Pass. So the money that they would usually make from game sales is realistically going to be slashed, isn't it? Yeah. So you've got to think that in order to combat that, they're only going to enhance the level of microtransactions that they currently have, which hopefully they won't, because they did get major backlash for it.
There is potential for these microtransactions not to be too invasive. Like, there have been quite a few games in recent years that haven't had awful microtransactions, but we've yet to know anything about these microtransactions, so these could be very invasive, and it does concern you. It is a worrying thing. How bad are they going to be? Moving on from that, there's also been a lot of rumours with people who have left 343 saying that the development environment inside 343 hasn't been the greatest. Apparently there's been a lot of issues in development, and it's affected the staff, it's affected the employees a lot. I worry that that's then going to result in issues where, you know, employees otherwise haven't cared or haven't been given like the opportunity to care about this game. Like, they're just trying to kick this game out the door as quickly as they can. I don't want this game to end up like Cyberpunk.
Oh no, where it's been rushed out due to sort of investors and shareholders basically saying, look, we want fucking money, get it out.
Yeah.
I think that from what we've seen, and obviously we don't know everybody that works at 343, but from what we've seen from like the Ask 343s and the varying blog posts on Halo Waypoint and stuff like that, I do genuinely think that the people that work at 343 do really care about this game. But I do feel like they've been given an incredible uphill battle with how the game has been released so far. I remember, I think it was the music one where they were doing an interview. I think it was an Ask 343. They were interviewing like the sound people. One of the guys in that looked like he was dying. Like, big old bags under his eyes. Like, the poor guy had clearly been working hard on that game.
Yeah, you've got fears of overworking and crunch time and all that on this game. And I know it's been delayed a year, but that could have just resulted in, rather than the team having 6 months of crunch time, they now have a year and 6 months of crunch time, which can really grate on a person, and it's not good for the game and it's not good for the people having to do it. I think as well, kind of going on with what you said with the Inside Infinite posts, they are great sources of information, but a lot of what we're getting in them is what they're saying, not what they're showing. We've had a few things shown, like we got the sound for the new brute weapon, and we got images of it. But then they're kind of going on about, like, with the sound one as an example, they're talking about how sound will permeate through rooms and walls and bounce off of walls and all that. And then the only thing we saw of that was like their map meshes of how it will actually do it. But we haven't experienced that. We haven't actually been sat there in a room with someone shooting across the other side of the map, and we don't know how that experience actually is portrayed in gameplay. It sounds amazing on paper, but until we get to experience it in person, we don't know for a fact that that's going to be good. And there's a lot of things like that where they've described something but haven't shown something.
Yeah, there's no actual proof behind what they've said so far. There's no proof of concept, so to speak. I think sort of in terms of gameplay development, though, and this is just sort of a little bit more broad on the industry in general, COVID has obviously had a massive impact on how games are being created. Obviously, people working from home, obviously sharing ideas and various like sources and all that takes that much longer. I'm hoping that this won't have damaged the game. I'm hoping that the extra year is to incorporate both A, how shit it looked at E3, and B, the fact that there was a pandemic going on. But it's just another little thing. The thing that would annoy me the most is if they then use it as an excuse and say, oh, well, it was made during a pandemic, so, you know, you got to cut them a bit of slack. Like, yeah, but at the same time, you delayed your game. Like, you've given yourself ample opportunity to make sure that this is in the best possible state before you go live with it.
There can be no excuses with this game. When it releases, it has to be good. It has to work. It has to be stable. It has to be enjoyable. If it's not, it has to have content. If it doesn't have any of these things, I don't give a shit if they start saying, "Oh yeah, we'll add it in post." No, this game needs to be a complete game day one. Support afterwards, yeah, fine. Add content afterwards. Expand upon it afterwards. DLC, maps, everything. But if it's not a complete package day one, you're gonna lose a lot of people. You're gonna ruin a lot of people's fandom of the Halo franchise.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Do you have any concluding thoughts on this, or do you think we've covered everything?
I think that's everything. I think that's our kind of key points on this one.
Okay, well that is why we feel Halo Infinite is destined to fail in a way. Hopefully, as we said at the start, we don't want this to fail. We don't want to be fucking haters and all this shit. We just really want the game to be very good.
Hopefully we're wrong. Like, that's at the end of the day, we hope everything we've said in this doesn't matter. The game ends up coming out, it's gorgeous. That's what we want. Definitely. That's what we hope.
100%. I mean, we're Halo fans, like everybody that's watching this. We want this to be as good as it can possibly be. But anyway, thank you guys ever so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Let us know whether you agree with us for a start, whether you think Halo Infinite's going to fail or not. And also, check us out on Twitch. We'll put a link in the description. We play a lot of Halo and stuff on there, and we're trying to sort of like get following on there. So let us know if you want to come check us out and say hi. But yeah, thank you guys ever so much for watching.
I'll see you guys in the next one.